Alright guys, this is a 2000, let's double check here. This is a 2004 Ford Explorer, and we're having issues with this blinker switch not always working. He'll have it down to go left or right and it'll blink, but only part of the time, so we're going to replace it. Let's see. Alright, so this is the box that it came in. This is the part number that I believe is what you can look up on Amazon. So AutoZone had this for $109, and I got this off of YouTube. Let's see. I got this off of Amazon for $39. So, let's see. I'm trying not to move around or be too sloppy about it, so sorry about that. It looks exactly the same, so we're not going to have any issues with it. Alright, tools needed for the job are a Phillips screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver. I got just a 1/4 inch drive. This is a 7/32 for one of the small screws that takes the actual switch off, and then a 7mm, and then I just have a 1/4 inch extension if I need it. So first off, we take the 7mm and we need to take off this screw and this screw. I'm going to do that really quick and then show you what I do next. Okay, so the screws that I just took out, they look like this. There's 2 of them. Then after you take them out of their spots, this panel just pulls out. Really super easy. Nothing expensive, like crazy about it. It's not even super hard. And if it seems hard, just keep trying and it'll come out. So then there's a screw that's a Phillips head screw right in here, and then there's one in here, and we'll take those off. Alright, so the screws that go in this piece look like that. We got 2 of them. And then should be able to just kind of wiggle it up. The other side's loose. This side might be a little trickier. Okay, so here's the piece that fits right here, and to get the top off, there is a screw right here to get this top piece off, and then we can start working on getting the actual switch out. And that's just another Phillips. Oops. There we go. Fell out. Okay, so then this grommet just kind of pops off. Nothing crazy, and I just move it up out of the way. And then you should be able to, so you can see right there is the screw to remove this. And after you remove that, you pull this little tab and it all lifts up, and then you got to take the wires off. So I'm going to remove that screw and then go from there. That's my 7/32 socket, and it's just on a 1/4-inch drive, and I got it loose. I don't know if you can. It's kind of tight and hard to record as I'm doing it, so I'm gonna take it off and then do the next step. Alright, so here's the bolt I just took out for the switch. Set it to the side, and now there's a tab right here, and if you push the tab, then you can lift the whole thing out like that. And then on this back side, you've got these screws that you got to take off, and all the screws are just push connect screws, nothing fancy or crazy. So I'm going to take those off, and then we'll show you what's next. Alright, so there's 1, 2, 3 plugs. 3 plugs. They're just push connects, but sometimes they're easier to get to or get them to release if you use a flat blade screwdriver. So that's why I brought the flat blade screwdriver along. So with that, you should be able to just remove that. Oops. I dropped the part. Okay. So this is the old one. A little dirty. Not working very good. And looks like that's one of your part numbers, maybe. It's got the Ford stamp on it. And the brand new one looks exactly the same in all the shapes and sizes and everything there. So you just stick it back together. Okay, so you can't screw this wiring up because each one goes in its own spot, and it doesn't do anything, you know, you can't really mess it up, is what I'm trying to say. So once you do that, make sure that you put it back in its holder. There's a couple little slots we gotta kind of feed it into. It's kind of tricky with the lid. See if I can. So if you look, if it'll focus, there you go. So that's the tab, and down there is one of the little tiny, it's like a groove that this part fits into. And there's one on this side too. See if it'll focus. This groove here has to fit in a groove there. So don't forget to do that, or it won't go in, and then you won't be able to get the bolt back on that this is supposed to be held by. Alright, so it's back in that way. Now I'm going to put the bolt back in over there. Alright, so the part is back in, the cover's back on. I did put this rubber for the shifter back on, so don't forget to do that. And then I want to make sure that it's fitting where it's supposed to. Might be kind of something I got to work with it as I'm putting the bolts back in. Alright, so then we put a bolt back into this spot, and then one up here that goes into that spot, and then one on the other side. And when I get that done, I'll show it to you. Alright, really quick. You put this one back in first. You don't put this one or the one on the other side back in until you put the bottom cover on. But I also want to point out that these screws that go in here do not need to be super tight, because if you do them too tight, you can break this. So just tighten it to where it's snug, because these will break really easy. The plastic is brittle and they're just not high quality. And then if these break, then your cover doesn't stay on, it just flaps around. So I'm going to put the bottom cover on, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so the bottom cover is back on. Make sure the rubber grommet sits where it needs to. And on both sides right here where the seam is, there's these clips, and you push it together. And that kind of helps it stay together while you try to put the screw. We're going to put the cover back on the bottom, and it takes these two little screws, and then we'll be all done. Okay, it's all back together. That's the driver's side. Steering column blinker switch that I put in because it wasn't working. Put the cover back on. 7mm bolts on the bottom here. Everything's back together just like it was. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked the video. Appreciate you watching. Have a good day.